What up, gamers? This is the Meat Geek, owner of official video videos on YouTube. I also represent AsifNetwork.com. This is another episode of the Meat Geek Gab Show, where I get to talk about video games and other geeky topics. For all you gamers out there who would like to know just how far back video games go, I have started compiling an ongoing video game mini-series about the history of video games. I hope you find this series enjoyable and informative. I know I've had a blast researching the history of video games and putting this report together. You will find a lot of this information on Wikipedia and other websites. Please check the links below this video. Early history, 1947 to the early 1950s. The first video games used were the early CRT, cathode ray tube technology, based in US missile defense systems developed in the late 1940s. Some of these programs were adapted for other simple games during the 1950s. By then, defense contractors developed more computer video games, which gradually increased in sophistication and complexity. On January 25th, 1947, Thomas T. Goldsmith Jr. and Ethel Ray Mann filed a United States patent request for an invention they described as a cathode ray tube amusement device. In 1947, Goldsmith and Mann created the earliest known interactive electronic game. The developers applied for a patent for this game device in January 1947, and the United States Patent and Trademark Office granted U.S. patent number 2,455,992 in December 1948. The game used analog circuitry, not digital circuits, to control the CRT beam and also position a dot on the screen. Screen overlays were used for the missile targets. Since screen graphics at the time were still not advanced enough to be drawn, as they are today. The patent details a machine in which a person uses knobs and buttons to manipulate a cathode ray tube beam to simulate firing at airborne targets. A printed overlay on the CRT screen helps to define the playing field. In 1949 to 1950, Charlie Adama created a bouncing ball program for MIT's World 1 computer. While the program was not yet interactive, it was a precursor to games soon to come. In February 1951, Christopher Strachey tried to run a draughts, or checkers program he had written for the Pilot Ace, or ACE. It was one of the first computers built in the UK at the National Physical Laboratory, NPL. The rotary phone dial shown at center of this picture was actually used to make game moves. The program exceeded the memory capacity of the machine, and by October 1951, Strachey recorded his program for a machine at Manchester, England, for a larger memory capacity. In 1951, inventor Ralph Baer was developing television technologies for Laurel, a New York-based electronics company. Baer came up with the idea of using the lights and patterns he used in his work as more than just calibration equipment. He realized that by giving an audience the ability to manipulate what was projected on their television sets, their role changed from passive observing to interactive manipulation. He took this idea to his supervisor, who quickly squelched it because the company was already behind schedule. In May 1951, Ferranti International, a major UK electrical engineering and equipment firm, created the Nimrod computer and presented it at the Festival of Britain. It used a panel of lights for its display and was designed exclusively to play the game of Nim. This was the very first time in recorded history that a digital computer was designed specifically to play a game. The picture at left shows a live game demonstration at the 1951 festival. Nim is an ancient two-player mathematical game of strategy dating back to at least the 16th century. Players take turns removing objects from distinct heaps. Nimrod could play either the traditional or reverse form of the game. On each turn, a player must remove at least one object, and may remove any number of objects provided they all come from the same heap. Nim is a simple game in which players start with a number of piles of tokens. Each player in turn takes one or more tokens from any one pile, and the game continues until the last token is taken from the last pile. In 1952, Alexander S. Douglas created OXO, a computer program for tic-tac-toe, also known as noughts and crosses. Douglas created the program to illustrate his PhD thesis on human-computer interaction for the University of Cambridge. As the first digital graphical simulation game, OXO ran on the EDSAC computer at Cambridge. EDSAC used a cathode ray tube as a visual display for programs, as one of the world's first stored program computers. OXO is often cited as the first true computer game. OXO players matched wits with the computer. However, OXO never enjoyed widespread popularity because the EDSAC computer was unique to Cambridge. In 1958, William Higginbotham created a game called Tennis for Two using an oscilloscope and analog computer. The game was used to entertain visitors to the Brookhaven National Laboratory in New York. Tennis for Two showed a simplified tennis court from the side, featuring a gravity-controlled ball that needed to be played over the net, unlike its successor, Pong. The Tennis for Two game used two box-shaped controllers, both equipped with a knob for trajectory and a button for hitting the ball. After being exhibited for 2 seasons, Tennis for Two was dismantled in 1959. Thanks for watching the history of video games, early history, 1947 to the early 1950s. Please add this video to your favorite list, and your comments and likes are very much appreciated. If you subscribe to Official Video Videos, my channel, and ask for a shoutout, I will give you shoutouts for life. Join me next time when I talk about the history of video games from the late 1950s to 1960s. Stay sharp, gamers.